This Friday will not be ordinary for you, but the reason may be completely different from what you are expecting. Chosen one, you were not brought here only to hear that something good is coming. You were brought here because one part of you must be awake before it arrives. You have felt the pressure building. You have sensed a change without knowing its name. Some mornings, hope rises before fear pushes it back down. And somewhere beneath the noise, you know there is one decision, one conversation, or one step that can no longer be delayed. Receive this as an invitation to reflect. Let prayer and discernment remain your foundation. My child, I am not asking you to predict what will happen. I am asking you to become present enough to recognize what I place before you. That is the first truth. Being chosen does not make you better than anyone. It means your pain has taught you to notice what others ignore. It means you are learning to turn disappointment into wisdom and fear into careful action. You are not being called to escape responsibility. You are being called to meet it clearly. This Friday may become the day you remember as the moment everything began to turn. Not because a perfect life will fall from the sky. Not because you must trust another empty promise. It may become your best day because God is bringing you to a threshold. Before you reach it, you must recognize what has been clouding the receiver inside you. Stay with me. You will see the 3 signs that the threshold is near. You will discover the mistake that causes spiritually sensitive people to miss it. You will also learn a simple 8-minute preparation for a clearer mind. The final sign is the one most people dismiss. They call it boredom, distance, or lost interest. But later, they realize it was the beginning of everything. Do not rush past that thought. The exhaustion you have been calling a lack of faith may not be a spiritual failure. It may come from carrying too many unfinished decisions for too long. When the mind is crowded, even a divine opportunity can look like another demand. You are not weak. You are overloaded. Every unanswered message takes a little attention. Every delayed choice keeps a door open inside your mind. Over time, that scattered pressure becomes fog. This is what I call the receiver state. It is the condition of your attention when life presents something important. A clear receiver notices the signal. A crowded receiver hears only noise. The difference is not your worth, or proof that God forgot you. Think about the last few days. Have you felt unusually restless? Has an old idea returned without explanation? Have you wanted silence more than entertainment? Your inner world may be preparing for a change not yet visible outside. You do not need to force the answer. You do not need to invent a miracle. You only need to become available enough to notice what is moving. Right, I am available if you are ready to meet this Friday awake. Availability begins with attention. Attention begins with honesty. And honesty begins when you stop calling every uncomfortable feeling a problem. The first signal rarely arrives, looking like a miracle. It often arrives as something you can no longer tolerate. That is where we go next. The shift may already have started, and the evidence may be hiding inside the discomfort you have been trying to escape. There are 3 ways the Friday shift often announces itself. The first is so quiet that most people mistake it for their own imagination. It does not always feel exciting. Sometimes, it feels like discomfort that refuses to leave. Things you once tolerated may suddenly feel heavy. Certain conversations may drain you faster. Old habits may stop bringing relief. A role that once felt safe may suddenly feel too small. You may call this negativity. You may accuse yourself of being difficult. But what if the discomfort is not proof that something is wrong with you? What if your inner standards have changed before your outer life has caught up? This is the first sign, holy discomfort. It does not mean you should destroy your life overnight. It does not mean every irritation is a command from God. It means you should examine the signal before you silence it. The symptom is restlessness. The old explanation is that you are ungrateful, but your identity may have outgrown a structure that once protected you. You may not be failing where you are. You may be preparing to move beyond it. Let that bring relief. You only need to tell the truth about what no longer fits. Clarity begins when denial ends. And that leads to the second sign. The second sign is a returning idea. It appears during quiet moments. It returns after you dismiss it. It may ask you to call someone, begin a project, learn a skill, or finish work you abandoned. At first, the idea seems too small. It may not look spiritual, it may not sound dramatic, but real direction often returns with patience, while anxiety changes its story every few minutes. The returning idea does not demand panic. It asks for attention. A creative project may be calling your name again. You have tried to forget it, but it keeps arriving when the room becomes quiet. Do not assume every thought is a message from God. Examine it carefully. Does it align with your values? Does it respect your responsibilities? Is it safe, honest, and grounded? A true signal can survive careful questions. Impulse becomes angry when questioned. Discernment matters. Wise counsel matters. Prayer matters. The sign is an invitation to investigate, not a command to gamble with your future. Now ask yourself one question. What idea has returned at least 3 times? Do not answer with what sounds impressive. Answer with what has been quietly persistent. That idea may not be the full door, but it could be the first handle. Right, I recognize the signal. If one of these signs has already appeared, you are not agreeing to act blindly. You are agreeing to stay present. The third sign is different. It is not about something appearing. It is about something losing its power over you. A pattern that once controlled your attention no longer feels worth the cost. But before you can understand what is disappearing, you must understand why the delay became so painful. Because waiting does more than test patience. If it lasts long enough, it can quietly change what you believe you deserve. You have been waiting in more than one area of your life. You may be waiting for work, money, energy, direction, healing, or one honest conversation. Waiting changes the atmosphere inside a person. At first, you remain hopeful. Then you become careful. After enough disappointment, caution becomes a wall that says, nothing good can reach you. Not every delay comes from God. Some delays come from circumstances. Some come from other people, fear, confusion, or choices we regret. You do not need a spiritual explanation for every wound before you are allowed to move forward. The danger begins when delay becomes identity. It has not happened yet slowly turns into, it will never happen for me. That belief feels protective, but it can train you to ignore the answer when it arrives. Delay becomes dangerous only when you use it as evidence that nothing good is allowed to reach you. Hear that again. The waiting was an experience. It was not a final verdict on your future. A long season can create a lasting belief. Then a real opportunity appears, and the old belief speaks first. It tells you not to reply. It tells you to wait until you feel completely certain, even when the next step is safe. Place both feet on the floor. Let your shoulders loosen. Take one slow breath. Remember one good thing that arrived later than you wanted. Its timing taught you that late does not always mean lost. You are not being asked to celebrate every delay. Some waiting was painful and unfair. But you can refuse to let yesterday decide what you are capable of recognizing tomorrow. There is another layer to the distance you feel. It is not spiritual distance. It may be neurological distance. According to the presentation I reviewed, a team connected with a New York neurologist developed a short audio sequence designed to support coordination between both sides of the brain. I will explain what they created later. First, you need to understand why that coordination matters. For now, hold one question. What if the fog you have been calling your identity is only a condition that can be addressed? Now the third sign can be revealed. Unnecessary noise begins to lose its power. You feel less interested in arguments. You stop needing to explain yourself to everyone. Certain habits and distractions no longer offer relief. You may think you are becoming distant. You may worry that you are losing passion. But sometimes your energy is simply withdrawing from what cannot travel with you into the next season. This is not permission to become cold. It is permission to become selective. The third sign is not emptiness, it is space. The old noise weakens, and for a moment, you can hear the idea beneath it. That is why silence may feel uncomfortable before it feels peaceful. Do not fill that space too quickly. Sit with the silence long enough to notice what remains when the pressure to perform begins to fade. This Friday may not begin with a loud event. It may begin with a clear refusal. It may begin when you stop feeding one exhausting pattern. It may begin when peace replaces the need to prove yourself. But silence alone does not create clarity. It only reveals how much noise has been living inside the receiver. In the next part, you will understand what the receiver state truly is, why your natural genius may feel distant, and why your potential is not gone. The receiver state is the condition of your mind when something important appears. It shapes what you notice, it shapes what you ignore, and it shapes whether a useful idea becomes action or disappears beneath another wave of noise. A clear receiver can hold attention long enough to see a pattern. It can separate intuition from anxiety. It can connect a new idea with an old problem. Most of all, it can remain present when fear tries to rush the decision. You were not born with this fog. As a child, you asked questions freely. You imagined without permission. You tried things before judging every possible result. Your mind moved between curiosity and action with far less resistance. Then, life became heavier. Rules multiplied. Responsibilities grew. Mistakes carried consequences. Over time, survival trained you to value control more than discovery, and the natural partnership inside your mind became harder to access. The product presentation refers to research often summarized as showing a steep decline in measured creative thinking from childhood into adulthood. That does not mean your intelligence vanished. It means certain patterns of education, stress, and repetition may have narrowed how freely you use it. One mode of thinking prefers order. It works with language, sequence, analysis, and control. Another mode responds more strongly to images, patterns, space, and the larger picture. Neither is better. Your strength appears when both can work together. Think about your recent days. You may have ideas but struggle to finish them. You may sense that something matters but fail to explain why. You may analyze every option and still feel unable to choose. The old label says you lack discipline. It says you are no longer creative. It says age has taken something essential from you. But that explanation may be incomplete because the problem may involve access rather than ability. When stress remains high, different ways of processing information can stop cooperating smoothly. Analysis fights imagination. Intuition fights caution. The mind keeps producing fragments, but those fragments never settle into one clear direction. This is why you can feel gifted and blocked at the same time. Your potential may still be present. The door to it may simply be crowded. That is a very different truth. You do not need to become another person. You do not need a new identity. You need conditions that help the abilities already inside you communicate with less friction, so insight can become a practical next step. Picture Friday morning. You wake up and do not reach for your phone. The room is quiet. Your breathing is steady. Before outside voices enter, one important task becomes clear. You complete that task before doubt pulls you away. Nothing dramatic happens in the room. There are no lights, signs, or sudden voices. Yet something inside you says, "I am back." That moment matters. Clarity does not always arrive as a revelation. Sometimes it arrives as the ability to finish what confusion kept delaying. Sometimes It is one clean decision made without a battle. Right? My mind is returning if you refuse to call the fog your identity. You are not claiming perfection. You are choosing to remember that temporary confusion does not define your permanent capacity. And this is where the message changes. Clarity is not only about feeling calm, it determines what you do when the door finally appears, because every open door still requires a decision. You may think the message is that Friday will bring you something. The deeper truth is that Friday may reveal whether you are still available for the life you have been asking God to send. A good day is not always a day without problems. It can be the day one right decision is finally made. It can be the day a cycle ends, a boundary rises, or a person stops hiding from the next honest step. The door may appear through communication. A message, email, or conversation may reveal an option that did not exist before. The signal may look ordinary, but its consequences may not be. The door may also appear as insight. Two separate ideas suddenly connect. A difficult problem becomes simple enough to approach. You see the next move, even while the path stays hidden. The third door may be a boundary. You realize what must be refused. You stop feeding what drains you, and space opens for something more aligned. None of this guarantees a dramatic event on Friday. That is not the promise. The invitation is to enter the day with more presence, because a useful opening can be missed when the mind is trapped in old expectations. Perhaps you have heard messages about special dates before. Nothing dramatic happened. Your skepticism is not a spiritual defect. It may be evidence that you learned to protect your hope after disappointment. You are not being asked to believe in a miracle calendar. You are being asked to meet one day with greater awareness. Even if no spectacular event arrives, the practice of clear attention still has value. Maybe you have prayed, meditated, written in journals, and listened to many kinds of audio. Honor that effort. None of it was wasted. Still, some people need support for the state in which attention, creativity, and decision-making work together. Spiritual practice can guide the heart, while a practical tool supports the mind carrying the next action. You may wonder why God would choose you after your mistakes. Shame tells you that opportunity belongs only to people who never failed. But opportunity is not a prize for perfection. Change begins when a person stops using the past as permission to repeat it. Real repentance is not endless punishment. It is a different choice, made with open eyes. Earlier, I told you there was a reason spiritually sensitive people can feel that something is close and still struggle to identify the next step. You now understand the spiritual side. What comes next explains the hidden neurological side. I waited to name the tool because you first needed to see the problem clearly. The tool is not a miracle. It does not replace prayer. It is designed to support one specific condition, a mind ready to notice, evaluate, and act. What I am about to describe is not the blessing itself. It is a way of preparing the instrument through which you notice, evaluate, and respond to what may already be moving toward you. So before I name it, let the entire message become plain. You may be close to an opportunity, but opportunity only helps when you can recognize it. A crowded mind can delay, dismiss, or distort the very answer it requested. You do not need more pressure. You need integration. You need analysis and imagination to stop fighting. You need intuition and caution to serve the same responsible decision. That is the why, that is the need. And in the next moment, I will show you the short audio program designed to support that coordination, along with what it claims, what it does not claim, and how to examine it without pressure. Here is the message in its simplest form. You may be approaching an opportunity, but it only becomes useful when your mind can recognize it, examine it, and turn it into responsible action. That is the why. The what is greater coordination between analysis, creativity, intuition, and focus. The goal is not to become superhuman. The goal is a more integrated state for the decisions waiting before you. This may fit someone who feels mentally foggy, overthinks, delays, or gathers ideas without acting. It may also appeal to someone who wants a daily practice. According to the official presentation, the program draws on ideas connected with split brain research by Dr. Roger Sperry. That research explored how the two sides of the brain process information differently within a connected system. The presentation says its neural sync technology supports what it calls whole brain activation. That is the seller's language, not a guaranteed clinical result. The Nobel Prize was awarded for foundational brain research, not for this commercial audio program. That distinction matters. Honest information supports better decisions. The product page shares personal stories. One woman from California described feeling calmer and more creative. A man from Texas described better morning focus and a clearer approach to a work problem. These are individual testimonials, not proof of identical results. The 8-minute audio program is called The Genius Switch. It is a digital track designed for short daily listening. Access is delivered electronically, so there is no physical shipping. The program is designed to support coordination between different modes of thinking. You listen in a quiet period and make the session part of a simple routine. Do not use it while driving or operating machinery if it makes you deeply relaxed. It is not medical care or a replacement for professional advice. This is not for everyone. It may fit the chosen one, who is tired of calling mental fog a personality and ready to give 8 quiet minutes to the mind behind each major choice. The presentation distinguishes this method from ordinary brainwave tracks and common binaural audio. Those are product claims, not independent proof of superiority. The official page frames the value at $500, then lists $49. At the time this message was prepared, the page displayed $39. Check the page for the current price and terms before deciding. The page also includes digital bonuses, including a guided visualization, a smart grocery shopping guide, and a classic manifestation book. The seller presents a money-back guarantee. Read the exact period, conditions, and refund process before buying. The program is presented as available only through the official page, not Amazon, Spotify, or a public audio release. Use the link in the description or pinned comment. Maybe you have tried many audio programs before. That is fair. Examine this one for its stated mechanism and short format, not because success is promised. Maybe $39 is not a small amount for you. Respect that truth. Never spend it if doing so would interfere with food, housing, medicine, debt obligations, or any essential need. Maybe time is the concern. 8 minutes can fit beside morning coffee, before work, or during a quiet break. The routine should support your life, not control it. The official presentation is linked below for those who want to review the claims, bonuses, price, and guarantee. Read it carefully. Decide from clarity, not pressure. If it fits your needs, you may begin before Friday with the intention of creating space rather than forcing an outcome. Individual results will vary, and no audio can make a decision for you. The tool is not the source of your calling. It cannot replace discernment. At most, it may support the condition of the mind that notices and carries your decisions. The deeper work belongs to you and your walk with God. But clearer thinking is not the final revelation. The final revelation is what you do when clarity points toward the decision fear trained you to avoid. But clearer thinking is not the final revelation. The final revelation is what you do when clarity points toward the decision fear trained you to avoid. Friday readiness begins with one honest action. First, clear one unfinished decision. Choose only one. Write the 2 real options in plain words. Then name the fear beneath the delay. because fear becomes easier to manage when it is no longer hiding behind endless analysis. Now, choose the smallest responsible step. Make it something you can complete in 15 minutes. Send the message, open the document, request the details, schedule the call. Action does not need to be dramatic to become a doorway. Second, remove one source of noise. Silence one group of notifications. Avoid one argument that gives nothing back. Do not begin Friday by allowing outside voices to occupy your mind before you have heard your own thoughts. Create at least 8 quiet minutes. You may pray. You may breathe slowly. The method matters less than the intention, which is to become present before the day begins, demanding your attention. Third, ask one grounded question. Do not ask, "Where is my miracle?" Ask, "What is the clearest responsible action available to me today?" That question does not chase fantasy. It invites wisdom into something practical. Fourth, respond within the window. When a useful opening appears, do not disappear into silence. You do not need to make a reckless commitment. You only need to acknowledge what has arrived and take one safe step toward understanding it. Reply to the message. Ask for more information. Write the idea before it fades. Arrange a conversation. Choose an action you can reverse if new facts appear, while still proving that fear no longer controls every response. Picture the moment. A message reaches you on Friday morning. Your old reflex says, to wait until tomorrow. Doubt begins creating 10 reasons to ignore it, but you pause long enough to notice that it connects with something you have been asking about. You read it again. You do not exaggerate its meaning. You do not call it destiny before checking the facts. You simply answer with clarity, and that small response opens a conversation that could not begin while you remained hidden. Write, "I will answer the door," if you are ready to respond without abandoning discernment. This is not a vow to accept everything. It is a promise to stop rejecting every possibility before you understand it. Hold the next words as a prayerful reflection. My child, the door does not always open with thunder. Sometimes it opens as a question, a name, an idea, or a responsibility you finally stop avoiding. A door can look like work. It can look like a boundary. It can look like an apology that must be offered, or a conversation that must be ended with kindness and truth. Your task is not to make Friday magical. Your task is to meet it awake. Clear one decision. Remove one noise. Ask one grounded question. Respond with wisdom when the next responsible step becomes visible. There is only one barrier left. It has protected you from disappointment for a long time. But while it guarded your heart from pain, it may also have guarded your life from change. The final barrier is the need to be completely certain. It tells you to wait for more signs, more proof, and more confidence. But certainty can become a beautiful name for fear. You are not only afraid of failure, you may be afraid of hoping again. You may fear believing something good is possible, then feeling foolish if the result does not match what you imagined. You may fear spending time or money and regretting it. You may fear taking action while others watch. Most deeply, you may fear admitting that you still want a better life. That desire does not make you weak. It means disappointment has not erased your capacity to hope. But hope must learn to walk without demanding a guarantee at every step. The symptom is endless analysis. The old explanation says, "I am only being careful. Care is valuable." Yet fear keeps requesting more information even after the next safe and responsible action has become clear. Discernment gathers enough truth to choose wisely. Fear keeps moving the standard of proof. Discernment can say no when something is unsafe. Fear says no before anything has been honestly examined. You do not need to know the whole road. You need to identify the next step that is safe, honest, and aligned with your responsibilities. Then you need enough courage to take it without controlling every result. Imagine your hand closed tightly. Inside it, are all the outcomes you have been trying to command. The promise that nothing will hurt. Now, slowly, open your hand. You are not releasing responsibility. You are releasing the demand to control every detail before you move. You are allowing wisdom to guide the next step without forcing it to reveal the entire future. For the person who recognized mental fog and divided attention, the resource connected with Dr. Barone and the team remains in the description and pinned comment. Examine it carefully, check the current terms. Let clarity, not urgency, make the decision. Now see yourself after Friday. Perhaps every problem is not solved. Perhaps no dramatic announcement arrived. But one decision changed the way you see yourself, because you finally responded as the person you are becoming. You no longer call yourself someone who always misses the moment. That identity is built through small actions that agree with truth more than fear. This is how a new story begins, not with noise, not with a perfect sign. It begins when you stop abandoning the next clear step simply because the complete path remains unseen. Before this message closes, I am going to speak one declaration over your Friday. Do not repeat it casually, because it is designed to end the agreement you have made with delay. You have agreed with delay each time you called waiting your identity. You agreed with it each time you treated confusion as proof that your best days were gone. But an agreement can be broken when truth is spoken and action follows. Let the final declaration be about more than one Friday. Let it become the end of your agreement with delay and the beginning of a life that meets each responsible opportunity with open eyes. You stayed until this moment for a reason. Not because you needed someone to promise a perfect day. You stayed because some part of you is ready to stop missing your own life. It takes courage to hope again. It takes courage to remain open after disappointment. Your faith and your questions can exist together because honest discernment is not the enemy of belief. Now release what cannot enter the next season with you. Release the belief that delay is your identity. Release the need to predict every outcome. Release the shame attached to your past decisions. Release the noise that has borrowed your attention. Release the habit of calling fear discernment. Release the story that your best days are behind you. Release the agreement that says you will always arrive too late. You are not denying what happened. You are deciding that the past will no longer speak as the final authority over your future. Receive these final words as a prayerful image of the love and courage available to you. My child, I have not asked you to control Friday. I have asked you to meet it, awake. Say this with intention. I am available for what is good. I am clear enough to recognize my next step. I am wise enough to examine what appears. I am courageous enough to respond. I am no longer using delay as proof of rejection. I am no longer calling exhaustion my identity. I am restoring order to my mind. I am making room for responsible opportunity. I am entering Friday awake, grounded, and ready. I am not waiting for life to choose me while refusing to choose my next step. Let those words become more than emotion. Let them become a standard for action. Write, I arrive, awake, as your declaration. Write it, because you are ready to meet the next day with greater honesty, presence, and courage. May peace help you distinguish a true opportunity from a dangerous impulse. May clarity help you notice what deserves attention. May wisdom help you refuse what does not align with your values and responsibilities. May courage help you act when the next step is right. May your mind become less available to noise. May you ask for help when a burden requires more support than you can carry alone. May it bring one useful conversation, one honest realization, or one responsible action that moves your life toward greater truth. The part of you that needed to wake was never a supernatural power. It was the partnership between faith and responsibility. It was intuition joined with verification, hope joined with action, and creativity joined with completion. It does not force a sign. It does not surrender wisdom. It remains open without becoming careless, and it moves without demanding control of every consequence. You do not need to force the day. You only need to meet it present. This Friday, arrive awake. Amen. When this message ends, protect the next few minutes. Do not run back into noise. Choose one decision, remove one distraction, ask one grounded question, then take the next right step. If this message helped you see your delay differently, share it with one person who believes they have missed their moment. Your best day does not begin when every problem disappears. It begins when you become fully available for the next right step.